Hello, everybody. This is Allen Devlin with Atlanta News First, checking in with you guys here this fine Tuesday. I hope you're having a wonderful Tuesday. This is the first day from my work week, so I'm just happy to be here, as always. And I'm happy to be sharing you guys some of the top stories that we're covering here in the Atlanta area, right a little bit past 8:01 at the hour. Just like always here, 8 o'clock, OTT desk, Atlanta News First desk. You can find me here, YouTube, Facebook, YouTube TV, Apple Roku, Amazon Fire, all that stuff. Wherever you get your streaming services, that is where you can get some of these, this news coverage, this kind of informal way for me to just chat with you guys, talk about some of the stuff that we've got going on. We're not on Facebook for the time being, but we're still on YouTube for those of you that are using social media and not a streaming app. But regardless, I'm going to give you the news anyway. I want to start off with the story that we've been covering here for the past couple of days now, where this crane, crazy stuff, happened yesterday. I wasn't at work, but I was following along, and I'm sure you guys were keeping up with what we were broadcasting here at Atlanta News First. A crane goes down, or at least part of a crane. The weights on the back of a crane fall off the crane and crash into an apartment building that was partially under construction right in Midtown, right across the bridge, and it created a whole mess. So this is the scene of where those parts of that crane came down. And if you look around, you can see that there are other residents living in the buildings right next door. All of those residents have been evacuated, and they remain evacuated. Over 1,000 people without a home right now. Now, the Red Cross has stepped in to help out, but what you've got is a whole lot of people who are either paying for their hotels or having to go find friends or family to stay with. And on top of that, you've also got that cost that comes with, not being able to go into your own home. They were allowed for a small period of time to go in today to get their stuff at their own risk because that building has not been cleared yet. And that's really kind of where this stands right now. OSHA is just trying to make sure that the building is safe and that whatever happened to that crane doesn't happen to other parts of the crane or happens to other parts of the building or whatever else comes. A couple of people were taken to the hospital, but everyone was accounted for and no one was killed in this incident. But there was a couple of close calls. It's a really big crane. It's a lot of weight. And, Midtown's just covered in cranes. Everywhere you look, we've got a crane because we're under construction. So it's making a lot of people kind of uneasy, thinking about how, if this one can fall or at least partially collapse on top of apartment buildings nearby, what's stopping the other ones from, suffering that same fate? So what you have is this upscaled effort to triple check all of the construction equipment right now in the Midtown area. Because I would probably say Midtown, downtown, the most densely populated areas in all of Georgia. So those cranes coming down is unacceptable. You can't have anything falling like that around anywhere, construction site or not. I've got a couple of cranes right outside of my apartment building. And, there's three, actually. They're building a brand new apartment complex right outside. I'm sure anybody who lives in the area is familiar with that site. So it is some scary stuff. But I want to tell you guys that right now, a couple of streets remain closed, 10th and 12th. Spring Street from 10th to 12th, which is one of the most popular areas for you to drive around Midtown, especially to get across the bridge from Midtown to West Midtown. It remains shut down as they continue to check these cranes. So if you are a frequent driver in the Midtown area, avoid West Peachtree Street and Spring Street closed from 10th to 12th. You have to find an alternative route. That traffic is looking bad right now, especially during the rush hour time. So if you're listening to me, if you can hear my voice, avoid it. Just avoid it altogether. The next thing I want to talk to you guys about is some good news, for the most part, coming out of Gwinnett County, Jimmy Carter Boulevard. The former president, the 98-year-old 39th president of the United States, right now remains in hospice care. He checked himself into hospice care, honestly, weeks and weeks ago, where he is still there. I think it was back in February, I would say, is how long it's been, which is phenomenal for the former president. But he remains in hospice care. But over in Gwinnett County, Jimmy Carter Boulevard is getting banners placed up along that boulevard in tribute to the former president. You can see some of those banners right here. Atlanta News First was out there looking around, checking them out. And this is just a most recent addition to what has been a long-standing tribute, rotation here in Georgia, as the only president from Georgia continues to live out his final days at his home in Plains, down south. And, you've already got so many things, museums, streets, plazas, statues named after Jimmy Carter, especially here in the metro, especially down in Plains, but really all over Georgia. And now what you have is these banners thanking the president for his service in the presidency and out of the presidency. Because if you know Jimmy Carter well, you know that, I guess not unlike a lot of presidents, but in a way where a lot of presidents did not follow suit. Even after he stepped out of office, his life indebtment to public servitude did not slow down whatsoever. He was a one-term president, but he did a whole lot of work well beyond his time in the White House for Georgia and for the entire country. And even in his 90s, continued to put forth effort to help others. And that is what we will all remember, continue to remember Jimmy Carter by, his effort and his service well beyond his years as president. It was a lifelong commitment. It really was. And so today, I want to let you guys listen in to a couple of the talks and the sounds of the people out there about that tribute.
I think that's one of the fundamental beliefs in my grandparents' lives, is how important it is to make sure that everybody has opportunity, how important it is to recognize the power that people have no matter where they come from, no matter where they got started. And this community really exemplifies that idea of what we call the American dream.
And the last thing I want to talk to you guys about tonight is something that's an interesting story. Our investigates team is actually looking into this one. Basically, there's a new effort in Atlanta to buy, I guess not used. They're not used on anybody, but they are not brand new. They're sealed, used diabetic products, and then be able to take them, resell them, and help others out. Anybody that's not using their diabetic test strips or maybe their machinery or their equipment. There's a gentleman that Rachel Polanski spoke to, and it's kind of a back and forth between if it's legal or not. It is legal, but some doctors, some specialists aren't recommending it. But I'm going to let Rachel explain this story and break it down, use some insulin test strips, and, maybe how you can get involved.
Here's an unusual offer, popping up on hundreds of signs across Metro Atlanta.
Suburbs and within the perimeter. I've done over 500 signs within the past 6 months.
Meet the man behind the signs, Ray Donovan, who tells us there's a booming underground economy for diabetic test strips.
This is my full-time job.
While each disposable piece of plastic may look insignificant, diabetic test strips provide an essential role in helping the 37 million Americans with diabetes monitor their blood sugar daily. Turns out, they're also a money-making venture.
It's diabetics that have an extra amount of test strips, pumps, Dexcom 6s. They have extra diabetic testing supplies. I meet up with them, I evaluate them, I check the expiration, I check the quality of them, and then I buy it off them.
Usually the buyers are uninsured and unable to pay retail prices, while the sellers are insured with a surplus of product. At least that was the case for diabetic Laura Miller, who sold hundreds of dollars worth of diabetic supplies to Donovan.
What happened was I had switched insurance, and all of a sudden in a month and a half I had like 4 different test meters and all the test strips and the lancets and everything like coming at me every other day in the mail.
A lot of stuff.
Miller wanted to make it clear that she's not rationing insulin and she's not selling supplies for the money. In fact, she only took $100 from Donovan, even though her supplies were worth triple that amount.
I told him nothing over that, no matter what.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I did it because I had an abundant amount and I didn't want them to go to waste.
I got your text messages about your supplies and equipment, and I'm really interested in the test strips. And
While it is legal to resell unused diabetic test strips, the practice has raised concerns from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, who said using pre-owned test strips may potentially cause infection or lead to inaccurate test results, which can cause serious harm, including death. Noonan Dr. Cecil Bennett also warns against the practice.
The concern is, of course, for my patient's health. If we're using strips that are inaccurate, basically we cannot manage that patient properly, and we may be undertreating them or overtreating them, which leads to further complications.
Among those complications, hyperglycemia, which happens when blood sugar levels are too high, and hypoglycemia, which sets in when blood sugar levels are too low.
And both could be medical emergencies.
Back on the street, I shared Dr. Bennett's concerns with Donovan, who says he takes precautions to ensure the products he's buying are legitimate, including only buying diabetic supplies that are sealed and within the expiration date.
If someone would have approached you with this pack, what would catch your eye about this?
That's not sealed.
So you wouldn't buy that?
Oh, definitely not.
Still, Dr. Bennett says buying pre-owned supplies is a gamble.
I'm surprised that it's legal.
That's not worth the payout for diabetics.
I really appreciate you calling us in, and I'll see you Thursday at 11.
I have no confidence in someone outside of the medical profession making a judgment as to whether or not these strips are good or not good.
And that was Rachel Polanski reporting. So yeah, that's an interesting one. You know, you hear about all this stuff, buy and sell used cars, used houses, clothes, whatever it is. Diabetic products also in the mix. Interesting component, but this one's going to, move forward. He is still doing that for the good. Medical professionals pushing back, but our Investigates team going to stay on top of it. One thing else we're going to be staying on top of here at Atlanta News First is this weather, because it's been a nasty one, but for the most part, most of those storms are moving out here. You can see a live look over Marietta Square. That sun peeking up over Kennesaw Mountain, but it wasn't like that earlier today. But thankfully, I've got meteorologist Patrick P. here to talk about how it might be getting a little bit drier after a little bit more rain, right?
Yes, sir. We're dealing with the last of the rain for the evening, and then we are going to trend into some very nice territory as we extend out the forecast. So good evening, everybody at home. Hopefully you are having a fantastic Tuesday. This is my Monday. This is my first day back as well. So good to be back. Hopefully you noticed I was gone, missed me a little bit, something like that. But yeah, so the forecast is trending better. There was rain yesterday. There was rain today. We had a first alert in place for that. We've dropped the first alert. The showers are diminishing, and they're going to continue to diminish as we head through the next couple of hours. And it's going to set us up for a pretty solid week where we have some dry days out ahead of us to finish out the work week. And even looking ahead to the weekend, we do expect the bulk of the weekend to be dry, but there is a slither of our area, that northeastern corridor, that does have the chance of seeing some showers on Sunday. This is all associated, believe it or not, with the same system that is bringing us rain, or brought us rain today. I'll show you that in just a couple of moments. Let's get you through some of this drying time, because that's going to start tomorrow. There's going to be a little bit of lingering moisture early in the morning. I really do think that it's going to be mainly south of I-20 and very, very isolated. The bulk of you, 95% of you, will not see these sprinkles tomorrow morning. We're going to be clearing through the day. Some folks are going to start off with some sunshine. So it's the further north you are, the more sun you're going to see when you walk out of the door. And we're going to gradually see clearing throughout all the day parts. So it's just really going to be a fantastic Wednesday forecast. Good day to be out and about. Temperatures are going to be improving. So thinking about getting out early in the morning, there is going to be some clouds for some folks, especially along and south of I-20. But we're going to be in the upper 50s, low 60s as you're making your way out of the door. Lunchtime forecast has us climbing into the lower 70s, and it's going to be nice, more sunshine, temperatures trending up. We'll get into the upper 70s, and we're going to slowly start our descent by tomorrow evening. So if you have any dinner plans, Wind Down Wednesday, so maybe you are stepping out, doing one of these Wind Down Wednesday events on one of these rooftops, not a bad night. Mid 70s, mostly clear skies, pretty comfortable. Green light for any of your evening plans. And we're going to pretty much do a carbon copy of that forecast on Thursday. It will be a little bit cooler. We're going to see more sunshine, though. So with clear skies, you hear us talking about it all the time, but radiational cooling happens when you don't have any clouds. Essentially, any of the heat that is radiated from the Earth's surface just escapes the atmosphere. So it causes a net cooling impact for our temperature. So it's going to be in the low to mid 50s for the start of your Thursday. But in the afternoon, without clouds, you get more of the sun's rays impact. So more sun rays equals more heating. So we'll get into the upper 70s around lunchtime. And then most of us are going to hang out near 80 degrees for a few hours of the afternoon. So a pretty solid day. Guidance has been trying to bring a little bit of moisture in late Thursday evening. We have that rain chance near 10% just because it's going to be so isolated. And we do think that a lot of these showers are going to dissipate as they sink further south. So that's not going to be too impactful. Here's that system that has been bringing us showers today and lots of cloud cover. Here's how it's going to essentially evolve over the course of the next couple of days. So it is going to move over Florida, and as it does, it's going to reemerge eventually in the Atlantic, and it's going to become a more well-defined low. Now, we are going to watch this because we are getting close to hurricane season. The official start is June 1st, but with the exception of 1 year, the last 8 years, we've had a named storm that happened before the 1st of June. So we'll watch this. We're not expecting any development from this, but this is the type of system that the development can happen pretty quickly, and it wouldn't be a strong system at all if it did develop. It would be something very, very weak. Nonetheless, tropical moisture is tropical moisture, and at the end of the day, the impacts are going to be the same. This is going to be a rainmaker as it moves inland. So you can see where it is Friday. As we fast forward into Saturday, it's going to ride up the coastline, and it's going to start to shoot moisture over. The good news, all of our guidance has been saying that Atlanta pretty much is not going to get much of this other than cloud cover. But if you're in places that are east and north of Atlanta, you're going to have that better opportunity of getting some showers as we head into your Sunday, because more of that energy is going to filter in. So that's why the forecast has increasing rain chances. We go from 20% on Saturday to 30% on Sunday. The further north and east you are, the better opportunity you have to see these showers. And we're going to keep a low-end rain chance around through the beginning of next week. Memorial Day's on Monday, heading back to work on Tuesday. We're keeping that rain chance around because this low is going to continue to rotate, and there is going to be cloud cover. And whenever these systems, you can always get a little bit of moisture to squeeze out of them. So we could see a few showers Monday or Tuesday, but looks to be pretty isolated. If you're asking me about my plans for Memorial Day, if you're in Atlanta, points east, points south, green light to go ahead and make those outdoor plans. If you're north and east, that's where we're really going to have to be watching this track over the course of the next couple of days, because this continues to if it continues to trend a little bit west, that's going to equal more rain and for more people. So with this being days away, we're going to continue to stay on top of this. Your First Alert Weather team will give you that first heads up as soon as we think that this is going to be more impactful than it looks right now. But for now, I would keep those plans as they are. So, you know what time it is. It's 8:17. I'm going to leave you with the 7-day forecast so that you can appreciate these warming temps and these clearing skies that we're going to be tracking in the next couple of days. Staying below average, actually, by a couple of degrees, but feeling quite nice each afternoon, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And then we're going to be watching the weekend for cooler temperatures with that easterly breeze, the cloud cover, and then those lower rain chances for your Sunday. So I will catch you guys tonight at 10, but you can always catch meteorologist Fred Campagna at 9. He's going to have an update on some of the data he's going through at this moment. And then we're going to give you more updates at 10, and he'll have that final look at your First Alert forecast tonight at 11. Have a fantastic Taco Tuesday.